Following the dark side, I want to talk about karma, especially since we're talking about Darth Vader a lot. Darth Vader is a prime example of karma in both the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. In Return of the Jedi, for example, Darth Vader makes a decision that changes everything. He chooses to forsake the dark side and to destroy his evil master, and thereby saving his son, even as he brings about his own death. Karma is about what you're doing right now, in the moment. And the past is gone, and the future is only a fantasy. Here and now, we can choose to perpetuate the mistakes of our past, or stop them and take a new course. Good can be realized only in the present. Only when you are fully present here and now can you know what it is the right thing to do at that moment. Before Luke was going to confront his father, Obi-Wan was telling him that he cannot escape his destiny, and that he must face Darth Vader again. And then Luke tries to tell Obi-Wan, I won't kill my father. There's still good in him. I can feel it. So Luke was not being controlled by his past at this point in the story. Yet he was in the present moment where he was free to choose what he was going to do, and knowing that his choice could save the galaxy. And when he was standing in the throne room, he did make the right choice. He deactivated his saber, he tossed it to the side. He could have made that decision before he ignited the weapon, right? But he chose to ignite it, defend himself against his father, and then in the moment, after realizing where he was at that time, chose to control his emotions, toss away his lightsaber. He couldn't have pre-planned or reasoned out that moment. It's all what's happening in real time. And what helped him get there was meditation. The first thing we talked about. And mindfulness. His meditation trained him to be in the here and now, and to see things as they are, and to be grounded, so that our choices aren't made from a place of passion or emotion, but from a place of intuitive insight gained from mindfulness. And one of the last things I'm going to talk about in the Dharma of Star Wars is the combination of wisdom and compassion. Now, these are two great qualities of mankind. And ultimately, it's what the Jedi were supposed to stand for, being wise and being compassionate. Outside of all their narrow views on politics and the Force, and to be wise and compassionate was their ideal motive. Wisdom develops from careful observation of our nature and the naturalities of life. Wisdom is the fruit of meditation, mindfulness, and diligent effort. Wisdom is the inside of the way things are that freezes from the shroud of the dark side. And compassion is the aspiration and strength to relieve the suffering and sorrow from another person. Again, we go back to Luke Skywalker. He's the best example of this. In his final confrontation with Vader, where he shows a perfect balance of wisdom and compassion. After his first confrontation with Vader on Cloud City, Luke knows that there is still good that remains in his father. He says he felt it. And Obi-Wan, I guess you can argue, was never as compassionate as Luke Skywalker, for he could not see that in Vader. Obi-Wan couldn't see that in his own apprentice. So in some ways, Luke is more of a Jedi than Obi-Wan was. Now, before you get mad at me or shut me down, I'm going to come back to that point. So don't be upset. But Luke's own wisdom and compassion for his father, that's not enough to turn Vader back to the good side, but it did help his destiny. Because Vader had to turn himself into the person he was going to be. When Luke turned in himself to the Imperials, and he was walking with Vader on the balcony, and they were waiting for that elevator to take them up to the spaceship so they can go confront the Emperor, Luke tries his best to get Vader to see his true self. He says, I want you to know Anakin Skywalker, the name of the man you used to be. And We can only offer others compassion and support and wise advice. That's what Luke was doing in this moment. But only they themselves can remove the shroud of ignorance from their heart and mind. Luke doesn't tell his father what he should or should not do. He simply directs Vader back to himself to search his own feelings, to investigate his own mind, and discover the truth that it's not too late for him, but he can still lift himself out of the dark side. He says it himself, search your feelings, you know it to be true. Bring back my father. This is the Jedi way, and it's also the Dharma way. Return of the Jedi is a little underappreciated, I believe. That whole last act of that movie is so powerful, and it could make a grown man cry. It really could. For as little action as there is compared to the other two movies, and as little adventure as the other two movies. That's just my opinion. That last movie is more about the development of what it means to be a Jedi and what it means to be an ideal human. Now, let me bring up that Obi-Wan thing again, because I know a lot of you are probably a little upset about that when I said that Luke is more of a Jedi than Obi-Wan. Now, to be fair to Obi-Wan Kenobi, he could have known all along that there was still good in Vader. Maybe not at the time when he ripped all his limbs off on Mustafar, but maybe sometime after that, whether it was meditation on Tatooine, watching over Luke after a while, seeing similarities in his son, or just, being more mindful of himself and how he treated Anakin. But since the time had passed for him to exist in the physical realm, he could not confront Vader the way he wished he had. He passed away. He was now a Force ghost. So maybe what he was doing when he was telling Luke to confront Vader and he must kill his father, what if it was a test? What if he was testing Luke in ways that should have forced him down the dark side? What if it was a way to test Luke's patience with his emotions, to get him to go forward to confronting his father without the means of a lightsaber? Obi-Wan was there from the beginning of Luke's life, constantly helping him along the way. And I believe that, I definitely don't believe Luke is better of a Jedi than Obi-Wan. In some ways, yeah. But in other ways, I do believe Obi-Wan is more of an established Jedi. I mean, he taught Luke everything he knows. I do believe there's a lot of time not spent on camera that Luke and Obi-Wan were still talking to each other. But I just wanted to point that out because I wanted to play both sides equally. So maybe Obi-Wan knew about the good still inside of Darth Vader.